All right, so today we're diving into something a little different.
Different is right.
Yeah, different is a good word for it. Are you ready to go deep?
Always. I was very excited to see this one.
Yeah, you sent us a source,
Yeah.
and it is filled with one phrase over and over and over. And that phrase is skibidi, skibidi.
It's catchy, isn't it?
It is catchy, but what does it mean?
Right. That's a real question, isn't it?
That's what we're here to figure out
That is our mission today.
on this deep dive. So basically, from what I understand, it's just like pages and pages of skibidi, skibidi.
Well, I think the first thing that kind of hits you is the repetition.
Yeah.
You know, just how many times it says skibidi, skibidi.
Right.
It's almost like it's daring you to interpret it or something, you know?
It really is.
Yeah, to make something out of it.
Yeah. How do you even start with something like this?
I mean, one way to look at it, I think, is to think about the Dadaists.
Okay.
You know, that movement that came about after World War I, they were all about nonsense and absurdity and kind of challenging, you know, what we think of as art.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they're saying, here's language just stripped down to its most basic element. Now what?
Skibidi, skibidi.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is, by just repeating that phrase, you know, we almost get this hypnotic kind of rhythm.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about, well, not the meaning, because there isn't one really,
Right.
but the feeling it gives you,
Mm-hmm.
the sounds.
It's interesting because even though there's no like clear meaning, right? You know, traditional meaning.
Yeah.
It still makes me feel something, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like this weird mix of like amusement and like a little bit of unease. Like it's a joke I don't get.
Yeah, and that's what's so fascinating about it, I think, is that even though we can't really put our finger on, you know, what it's supposed to mean, it still has an effect on us.
Yeah.
You know, it provokes something.
It makes me think of, you know, like Steve Reich, the composer, who uses all that repetition in his music.
Yeah.
And it creates these really complex patterns. But from this...
Right, it sounds simple.
Yeah, simple thing, yeah.
But it's not.
Is it just some weird quirk?
It's like we found a message in a bottle.
Yeah.
But the message just says skibidi, skibidi over and over and over again.
Right. Makes me wonder if this, you know, if there's something to that. Like,
oh, interesting.
You know, like with chanting.
Oh, like in a spiritual kind of way.
Yeah, like to reach, you know, like a different state of mind.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a connection there.
Okay.
You know, if you think about like repeating a mantra over and over, or even just, you know, focusing on your breath in meditation.
Right.
It's that repetition. It kind of shifts your thinking.
Yeah.
It breaks you out of those normal thought patterns and like engaging with language.
Yeah.
On a purely sensory level.
Almost like a sonic sculpture or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for our listener, right, who's going through this source, you know, they're probably
going a little crazy.
Yeah, a little skibidi crazy.
Yeah.
What can they do? What's a practical step they can take?
Well, first off, I would say every time you see skibidi, write it down.
Yeah.
Like literally make a note of it. Where does it show up? Is it the beginning of a page?
Right.
Is it the end of a chapter?
Right.
What are the words around it? How is it presented?
Okay.
So then after you've done that for a while, you can start to look for patterns.
Okay.
Are there times where it appears more often in clusters?
Okay.
Or is it evenly spaced throughout the whole thing?
That kind of thing.
So it's like we're asking our listeners to become like skibidi detectives.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so cool.
You know, maybe if they map it out, they'll discover some kind of hidden structure or a code or something.
So skibidi itself might not have a, you know, dictionary definition.
Right.
But it could be part of a larger system of meaning.
Yeah, within the source itself.
That's so interesting.
This reminds me of the Voynich manuscript.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
Oh, it's this really mysterious book.
Okay.
That's full of writing that nobody understands.
Yeah.
And strange pictures.
Oh, wow.
People have been trying to figure it out for like centuries.
Really?
Yeah, and nobody's cracked it yet.
Wow.
But, you know, just by trying to decipher it, we've learned a lot about cryptography and how people thought back in medieval times.
So, like, even if we never figure out what skibidi means, we might learn something else along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about these deep dives.
Yeah. Sometimes the best questions don't have easy answers.
Right.
But the journey is what's really interesting, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
The search for the answer.
Yeah, right.
That's where the real value lies.
Yeah, so to sum this whole thing up for our listener,
yeah,
we might not know exactly what skibidi means, you know, just based on the source material.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's meaningless.
Right. And, you know, maybe this whole thing with the skibidi skidi will make you think, are there other things in our lives that seem meaningless on the surface, but actually have a deeper meaning?
Oh, that's a good question.
Things that we just haven't figured out how to decode yet.
I like that.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah, something to ponder.
That's great.
All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.